Hello. We've been asked by a student to solve questions 19 and 20 of the Applied ICT AS Level 9626 exam from February-March 2017. So that's code 9626 paper 2. Questions 19 and 20 which deal with pivot tables. So we have opened that's question 19 and 20, and they start to deal with pivot tables, which are very easy to use, but you have to understand them. So we have to open the Excel sheet we got from from previous questions. Basically, they result in this in a table with these columns. And we are asked to create a pivot table to display the amount due by each person to each charity, the total amount due for each person, and the amount raised by each charity from this event. Before you do anything in Excel or in any practical ICT paper, take a look at the data you have. So you have columns here with lot number, which we're not going to use, charity code, which you're not going to use. Now charity name, which is yes, we're going to use this one. Cost, this is the only money that we have here, so we're going to use the cost, and it's going to probably be the one that says amount due by each person. Then we have we didn't be the number, which we're not going to use, but we have the name, which we are. So we're basically going to use this one and this one and this column. Okay. So let's start with the pivot tables. To create a pivot table, you have to select the data that you want to insert in the table, and it's very important that you select the data with the first row being the field names. Okay, do not select the whole sheet because it won't understand what you're doing. Just select the first row of the headers and then just go back until the end. Go down until the end. Okay, then you go to insert pivot table, and it will ask you which is the range. You've already selected it. You could do it here, but it's easier the other way. And then where do you want to create the pivot table? Well, a new worksheet works out fine for us. And you get and you arrive to this page, which is asking you to create the pivot table. Okay. Then let's understand this. These are the columns of the table. These are the filters that you would need to use. The columns of the new table you're going to create, the rows of the new table that you're going to create, and the values. If you start clicking here, it will insert things in the rows and columns as it deems right, but it will probably not be what you want. So before you create the table, you have to have a clear understanding of what you really want to obtain. So if you want to obtain a table to display the amount due by each person to each charity, the total amount due for each person, and the amount raised by each charity, well, the logical thing is that the two variables are going to be persons and charity. So one has to be the rows and one has to be the columns. You could really select it any way, but if you look at the table, there's more names of people than charities. If you go to the pivot table and you just select the charity name, you'll see that there's only basically 3 charities. But if you select the names, you get a whole lot of people. So it makes no sense to create the columns as the names, because you will obtain a very long chart. And it's normally the best thing is to create a lot of height but not a lot of width. So that basically means the charity names are going to be our columns, and the charity and the people's names are going to be the rows. Okay, so you will see that then we have the rows with the 3 names of the charities and the columns with the names of the people, and at the end you get a total and a total. So what is going to be here inside the table? That's decided by the values. So I want to put the money in, so I'm going to drag and drop the winning bidder number column into the values box. Okay, that's it. And we've basically obtained now what the question was requesting, which was a table to display the amount due by each person to each charity. So you have Peter, Mary, whatever, wherever, and the charity. So Everett has to pay total week 51 euros or dollars. The other person has to pay 16, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and we could check it by just searching for a person and oh, there's something wrong here. Obviously, I was checking my numbers. This is I've inserted the wrong column, so be careful with that. It's not this one. It's this one. Okay, the values have to make sense. That's a good thing. So now it makes sense. 8,200 euros, 5,020 euros, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we have what each person owes to each charity. Then what are the other questions? We have what the total amount due for each person. We do have it because at the end of each row it has a grand total. And the total amount due raised by each charity, we do have it too, because at the end of each column we have also the total. So we have totals at the end of each row and total at the end of each column. So we have what the exam was asking for, and that would be basically question 19 done, except we need to save it, followed by center number, candidate number, blah, blah, blah. So we would need to save this as an Excel sheet, and then put our candidate number and center number below that. Okay, and just make sure also when you save it that your data will be viewed in a whole in the whole screen. So if you go and select File, Print, and you preview it, it needs to be in the whole sheet. So this is not correct. I would need to move my first column there. I would need to move this over there as much as possible, and then reduce this column, reduce the other column. You already know everything about this because it's very frequent in the exams. Okay, this needs to be that, this needs to be that, and then just gradually make sure that that fits in the sheet. Well, that would make sense. Okay, I would need to correct that, but very quickly you can correct that and make and that would be the question 19 done. Save it, etc. By the way, as we are working with quantities which are money, it makes all the sense to before we do anything, select our area and change the format to currency. So all the results are as a currency and with the euro sign, etc. We haven't done it in this video for the sake of doing it fast, but please do it. Just change the format before you do it on your exam, while you're doing the past paper, so that on your result sheet you have the resultant sheet with the currency format. Okay, but we haven't done it in this video. Okay, so question 20 implies that we have to filter this data, extract from the pivot table only the people who donated to all three charities with a total of more than 20,000 euros. So how can we do that? Well, first of all, we can do any of the things at the same first, but let's start with the people who have donated to all three charities. Okay, so basically this person has donated to 1, 2, and this 1, 2, 3. So we need to select people like this. An easy way to do that is to use the function count. So if you use the function count and we select the row of the cells of the three charities, it will basically select which ones have an amount. And so that's why this one is saying 1, the next one should say 1, then 3, etc., etc. We do that 1, 1, this one has 2, and then that one was 3. It's correct. So we have found a way to count the ones, how many charities they've donated, and then we can filter this and select. To filter the amount, we need to basically copy this and paste it there, because we can't filter that. We can't filter the pivot table with a normal filter, but we can filter a column that we create. So we want to filter both these things. So what we're going to do is we're going to select both of them and apply a filter. And then on that filter, we're going to say, look, I only want the ones with have a 3 here. Boom, we have the ones that have donated to all 3 charities. And then we can go to this filter, apply a number filter greater than, because I think it said greater than, of more. More does not imply that 20,000 is more. So more than 20,000, so it's greater than, you go to 20,000, and that's it. Okay, so we just have to select this once. I think it says the same as before. Save it, followed by okay. No, show evidence in your method in followed by your center number in your evidence sheet. So okay, we could just show this and show this. Okay, show this. Basically, I would show this and screenshot that and the result and apply and put the center number in our evidence sheet. And that's finished. Question 19 and 20 finished. Okay, so we've done question 19, question 20, 21 and 22 are theory. We'll leave it at that. They're fairly easy. We'll go to the extra ones. So it's question 23 now, and it says create the most appropriate graph or chart to compare the percentage income for each charity from the event. Ensure your chart is suitable for inclusion in a black and white publication. Okay, so if it's a percentage, it's always pie chart. So we have to find the percentages of the income for each charity. Fortunately, the pivot table already does that. It gives us each quantity and it gives us the total. Okay, so we only have basically to, I'm going to insert the titles here, and we only have to calculate the percentage here. So it's basically, you click on this, divided by the total, and then we want to make this cell with an absolute value. Okay, because the total must not change on each cell, and then this must be displayed as a percentage. So we drag and drop this there, and then we see that this is 40 plus 30 is 70, 70 and 29 is 99, which is basically 100 is the rounding up. So we want to do a chart. Let's select this, and with a control we select the other row. We go to insert pie chart. I like the 3D one. You have to choose which one you like. This basically displays it fairly nicely. We need to change. First of all, I like to add here. So I right click and I right click outside and I put sorry, right click inside and add that labels. Okay, so I see the percentages there. Then I change the title and I say percentage income per charity, for example. And then it does say that you wanted for they wanted for a black and white publication. So you just need to click here, right click on the format. So let's click on here, and it says that I go to color, and there's a row here that says black and white, and that's it, and we have it there. So we just change the width and the height, and we have our graph here. So that's question 23 done. Place a copy of this graph or chart in your evidence number. So finished. Question 24. A worker for one of the charities states people attending events usually donate to one or three charities, but not two or charities, but not all three. Create a graph to prove or disapprove this statement. Well, obviously, we've seen from the data that it's not correct, but let's just go back. Go back. So here, let's copy again. Let's do this, the count of the rows here, because this is what we're going to need. Okay, so we want this, and then we want to see how many there's of 2, 3. We could just create a graph with all these values and see a bar chart or a linear chart to see if there's more of 2s and 3s. But also a good idea, which I've just thought about, we can do another formula here, which is count if. For this range, if it's a 1, we can count. We can do the same thing. I'll just copy here. Change this to no, copy here. Okay, and change it to a 2. And change that to 3, and that's a 2, and that's a 1. Okay, so let's see, that's 5. Okay, just this is wrong, so that needs to be there. Let's see if this is counting correctly. Yes. So basically it is 14 and 14, that's 28, 38, 39, and this would be 43 minus the 5. Yeah, okay. So number of ones. No, that's what was the question? Donate to 1, 2, or 3 charities. So donated to 1, donate to 2, donate to 3. Okay, so we can go here and we can insert again pie chart. Let's do a linear one now, and we have donated to 1, 2, 3. And we can see clearly here, even at the amounts, or we can do, yes, we can add the data labels there, or yes, format data labels. Yes, perfect. Okay. Yes. Okay, so we can do that. We could see this, that this is, we could see clearly this and insert it that way. I'm going to do it another way. I'm going to, again, calculate the percentage here. Let's click here. Let's do sum of this. So that will be, this one is this one divided by that one. Again, an absolute value. So that's I stays for the absolute value. and a percentage. So again, we're doing percentages there. And then we select this column and insert okay, so we can clearly see that the ones that donated to the 3 were at 30%, and the other ones add up more than the 30%. So we can just change the title, percentage donated to charities. And we could clearly see that it's false because there's more people that donated to the 1 and 2 charities than they donated to 3. Place a copy. We don't need to put it in black and white, so that can be basically it. And question finished.